What's up, Geeksters? It's me, Omar from Geekster Labs, and today I have a sponsored review for a product that was sent to me from Livescribe, and I'm going to be showing you guys their new Livescribe Aegir pen. So this is basically a Bluetooth smart pen that you can use to take notes, and then it'll transfer those notes to your device, whether it's an Android or an iOS device. It retails for 99 bucks. I'll have a link down below in the description if you guys want to check it out. So without further ado, let's get to the review. Okay guys, so before we get into the review, I'm going to show you guys what's included in the box. Then I'm going to show you guys some close-up details of the pen itself, and then we'll talk about the app that works with the pen and your device. So as you can see, here we have the box itself. Let's pop this open and I'll show you the different things that come included with an Aegir pen. So first, right off the bat, we have the pen, and we'll talk about the variations in colors and things that are available. But that's the pen right there, and also with the pen is one ink cartridge. So that's a ballpoint cartridge that is inside right there. It's already installed in the pen when you purchase it. Pop this out. Usually underneath there is a micro USB cable. I took that out of the way, but so this is a really short cable. This is what you'll use to charge up the pen itself, because it does have a built-in rechargeable battery. Next, we have the quick start guide, and this will give you all the steps on being able to set up the pen with your device and be able to start taking notes. And also included is a sample notepad right here. So this is like a 35-page notepad that you use with the pen. So here's the catch with this pen. You can't just use this pen with regular paper. You have to use special dot paper that Livescribe puts out. And so as you can see here on the paper itself, it has very tiny fine dots, and that is what the camera on the pen uses to distinguish where it is on the note page itself. So you can't just use regular paper. So this includes a tiny little free pad here to get started with it, but you can purchase additional pads and additional paper on Livescribe's website. So here's an example here of a journal that they have. This is like a really nice journal. Obviously this is something you would use if you want to keep not get rid of the notes, but hold on to them. But this is almost 200 pages. This one retails for 15 bucks, and it's 8.5 by like 5, I believe, or so. It's not a 8.5 by 11, but it's obviously a smaller journal. That's $15, 200 pages. Or if you want, you can get something a little bit lower quality, something that you probably might throw away after you're done with it. This is an A5 notebook. This one retails for 20 bucks, and it's a 4-pack. So it's 1 through 4 is how it's numbered, and the thing is the pen will know which notebook you're using. That's the special thing about this paper. So if I pulled out notebook number 3, let's say I'm a student that's for my math class, the pen will know, oh, this is notebook 3, this is a different notebook, and within the app it will put the notes in that notebook. So that's pretty cool. This has I believe 80 pages that are in here. So 20 bucks for a 4-pack of these. And if you really want to keep things super cheap and not buy any of the notepads, you can actually print your own paper off of Livescribe's website. So if you want an 8.5 by 11, you can print a ton of these up, put them in a notebook, spiral bind them, whatever you want to do. It has all the different controls for all the different pens. We'll talk about what those are a little bit later. But you can just print them out yourself, and then you have the paper as well. So you're not really forced to have to purchase these notebooks, even though they are very reasonably priced. Okay, so that's what comes in the box, and these are the things that talk about the different types of paper. Now let's talk about the pen. Alright, so here we have the actual Livescribe pen itself. As you can see, the variation I have here is the Dolphin. So Dolphin is basically it fades from one color to white. It's available in purple, which I have here, or teal. There's another variation they have called the Marlin, which is has some black on it. So it's just a different version. I kind of wish that they would offer just a simple black or a silver or a white version of the pen, just so it could look a little more professional, a little more business, I suppose. But maybe that's something they'll come down the line to offer. But currently, you can either get those two styles in either purple or teal. So that's all they have available right now. As far as the size of the pen, it's very similar to like a regular pen. Okay, it might be a little bit longer. And actually, if I take the cap off, you can kind of see that it's pretty much the same length and the same size as a regular pen. Okay, it does use a ballpoint tip, and you can purchase additional cartridges of these tips. They are available in fine and medium. So I think it comes with a medium tip on here, and you can use blue or black ink. To purchase more of these tips, I believe it's $7 for a 5-pack refill that you can get on Livescribe's website. So that's pretty easy. You can probably even find tips on other websites like Amazon or something as well, but $7 is very reasonably priced for those types of things. The one thing I don't like about the tips is that this one particularly, it jiggles. So I'm not sure if you can hear that. So it kind of jiggles around a little bit. I don't really like how that feels when I'm writing with it. I kind of feel like it was solid in there. I asked them about that, and they said the reason it has to jiggle is because it basically needs to engage it, and that's what basically turns it on. So if you see there's a little dot right there, that's an LED dot, and when you press hard on it, that's how it turns on. So it knows when I put a lot of pressure on it, it knows that I've begun writing with it, so now it is turned on. So I suppose they could have had a different way to maybe secure the tip in there, the cartridge, to where it's not jiggly. That's just the one thing I noticed while using it. Not a really big deal, but me personally, it does kind of bug me, the fact that it kind of moves around inside of the chamber itself. Okay, so like I said, this is an LED indicator light right here, and this basically is a status light. So there's lots of different things that this status light, in a bunch of different colors, it goes into to let you know when it is on. It lets you know when it's synced up with your device. It lets you know when it's almost out of battery power. That's the LED light that's going to basically let you know what's going on in the pen. And speaking of battery power, when you could turn it to the side of here, we have the back end, and that is where the micro USB cable would plug into there to charge up the built-in rechargeable lithium battery that's built into here. So this battery will give you a lot of writing time. It gives you 10 straight hours of usage, and if you charge up for 90 minutes, it'll be fully charged, ready to go. So it doesn't take too long to charge up, and it'll last you a really long time. Also built into the pen itself, obviously, is some storage. So before we get into the app, I'll just basically explain to you, whenever you're using this pen, it's storing everything that you're writing, okay? So you don't have to have it connected with your device while using it. You can leave your iPad at home, turn your iPhone off, whatever it is. If you're in class, if you're in a meeting, you can write notes. You can write up to 1,200 pages of notes with the pen. And then when you turn on your device, or they're connected and they sync up, the Bluetooth syncs up with the device, it'll take all those notes and put them on your device. So that's pretty cool. So you don't have to, you're not handcuffed to keeping your device with you at all times. I tend to use this with my iPad, and I don't carry my iPad with me all the time, but I can have the pen with me at all times, write all the notes for all the day. When I get home at night, sync it up, and I'm good to go, and I don't have to have the iPad with me. The one thing you do have to have your device with you when you're using the pen is when you want to do audio recordings, because it will use the device's microphone. And we'll talk more about that when we go into the app. But you can actually do note taking while recording the audio, and it'll sync it up with your notes as you're writing. And like I said, I'll give you a demonstration of what that looks like, okay? So the build quality is pretty nice. It does not feel as solid as the Livescribe 3 pen. I reviewed that 3 pen a long time ago. That's their more executive, nicer, higher end one. It's a little bit more expensive, this one, than this pen, which makes sense. So it feels a little more solid, although it is a little bit larger. I feel like a little more bulbous and like a bigger pen. The fit and finish on this is not as good as that one, but it's a lower markdown price of the pen. So this one retails for $99. I think the other Livescribe 3 is almost $200. So I wouldn't expect it to be the exact same quality as that one. Not to say that this one is bad quality. It's just obviously slightly different from the higher marked up one, the higher end one that they also offer. Also, one thing to notice too on the back right here, you can see that it has a thing for a lanyard. So if you want to wear this around your neck, you could do that as well. The cap, I did notice, the cap does feel kind of like it doesn't securely snap into place. I feel like I could easily just knock this off. It doesn't have a full click to it. I'm not sure if maybe just the one I have here is feeling that way, or that's just how they all are. Not a big deal, but just something I did notice. So on the tip of the pen, as you can see right here, let me get it close up so you guys can get a good shot of it. So as you can see on the tip of the pen right here, that is where the infrared camera is in the pen. And that's the little camera that is reading all those dots on your notebook and knowing exactly what it is that you're writing. That's how it transposes that onto the application. And so because that is infrared, that means that you can take notes in really, really low light. Like I've played around with these pens in a closet with absolutely zero light, and it will read what I'm writing, even though I can barely read the page as I'm writing it. But the pen will be able to write. So if you're in a classroom setting, they're using a projector, it's very dark, doesn't matter. This pen is probably going to be totally fine in picking up all the notes and everything that you're writing on your notepad, even if it is in very low light. So that is the pen itself, guys. Now let's talk about the application that you use with the pen to send the notes to your device. Okay guys, so now let me give you a demo of what it looks like when you're transferring notes to your device. And in my case, I'm using my iPad right here. So they do have an app that's available for Android and iOS, and they also have an application coming out for desktop as well. That is coming soon, but for the time being, I'm going to show you guys how this works on my iPad. So as you can see, I have a couple different notebooks here as I've been testing and playing around with this. So as I begin a new sheet right here, I have a nice clean sheet. As I begin to write notes here, you will see a new note pop up on the top notebook right there. So let's make this test notes. Boom, right there. So we have a new page that has been started. I'm going to click on that page so you can see a close-up of it. And so it is pretty much, there's barely any latency or delay when it comes to writing notes. So let's see here. I'm going to do some notes for you. Taking notes is fun. So there we go. It's pretty fast and pretty quick. You do need to make sure your handwriting is pretty legible. Mine is not very good, so there are times when it does get confused on what it is I'm writing. But if I click on the feed at the very top of the application, right up there, it has all my different notes. And as you can see here, taking notes is fun is at the very bottom. So if I swipe left to right, it will digitize my notes if it's legible. Taking notes is fun. So if you have a bunch of notes written here and you want to transfer them to like a Word document or something like that, you can actually take your written notes and change that to like digital text and have that be to where if you don't want to type it up, you can actually write it out and you can still turn it into a Word document, which is pretty cool. Another cool thing you can do is with clickable or linkable items. So let's say if I wanted to do a web address, so let's say apple.com. You can also do something like, let's try a phone number. So if I wanted to do 555-123-4-5-6-7. Let's see what else we could do here. You could do so web address, a phone number, even an email. So let's say I want to do Omar at apple.com, and like I said, my handwriting is pretty terrible, but it should hopefully be able to figure out what I'm writing. So if I click on feed, so there's all the items I wrote. So if I swipe left to right, so apple.com, I didn't put it close enough. Usually if you do write it just right, it thinks it's a sentence. That's the tricky thing about using periods, especially in web address. So if I was going to write it, I'd probably need to make my .com a little bit closer because it thinks it's a sentence, but normally it would make that linkable. Let's check out the phone number here. So the phone number is clickable. You can click on that. You see I can do FaceTime audio. I can send a text message to them. I can add to my contacts. I could copy. If this was on my phone, I would probably give me an option here to make the phone call as opposed to FaceTime audio. So that is pretty cool, even with the email address right here, omar@apple.com. So if you have a coworker that wants to give you all their contacts, you want to add them into your contacts on your phone really quickly, you can just tell them to jot all their notes down, whether it's their name, their phone number, email address, all those kinds of things. And you can transfer pretty quickly from the device into your contacts, which is pretty cool. So let's check out another pretty awesome thing here I want to show you guys. So that is pencasts. And pencasts are basically audio recordings. So let's go back to the page. So I'm going to show you what happens here. So as see on the bottom of the page here, we have some, they look like buttons. So when you tap the pen to this area right here where it says record, pause, and stop, it's going to begin an audio recording. The audio recording is going to be taken from my device. So my iPad is going to begin recording using the iPad's microphone. And to record everything that I'm saying as I'm writing it, and it's going to keep it in sync with when I'm writing my notes. So let me give you guys a sample of this. So if I just click on the spot right here, there it is, begin recording. So I'm going to write my notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I will stop the recording. So it is now finalizing the pencast. So the cool thing about this is if you're like say in math class or you're in an important business meeting, they're going through a lot of information, you want to also record the audio so that way you don't forget anything that they were saying while you were writing. So if we go to pencast at the top now in the application, so if you go to pencast right there, so as you can see it's green, so in the green text will let you know that was a pencast that you're recording. So if I press play, that green text will change to gray, and as I write what is being said or what I'm hearing, it'll change from gray to green to let you know that's where you are in your notes as you're listening to whatever that was going on. So there it is, begin recording. So now I'm gonna write my notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So as you can see there, it's perfectly timed up. So I know when I said 1, I wrote the number 1. So imagine if they were saying something that was very important, like a formula in math class or something else that was super important. If you can't write everything down that they were saying, if you just wanted to get something really brief, at least you can hear what they were saying to you in the notes and it'll sync up with it, which is pretty helpful, pretty handy, and pretty cool in my opinion. Let's go back to the page and I'll give you guys one more example of something else that you can do with this here. So let's say you want to do, say you're a graphic artist, maybe you're an engineer or something, you need to draw some schematics or any kind of line drawings or things like that. I'm just going to do an example of like something I would probably do, like say if I was working on a logo for a pet shop. So let's say I want to, I'm going to try to do a little cat here. So if I want to do a little cat sketch using my pen, there we go. Nice little happy cat. So as you can see, the cat's popped up on my notes here. If I go to feed and click on that, as you can see, I've done other cats earlier. So there's the cat right there. If I click on that cat, I can actually go to share this. If if I click on share and scroll down, it gives you an option for open in. So it knows that's a vector type of graphic. If I click on open in, it'll actually can change it. You can save it as a PDF, as an SVG, a vector artwork, and you can plop it into like a Word document. I'm not sure why you would want to use that if you're trying to do something for graphic design purposes, but a PDF or an SVG is pretty cool. So you can save those files. You can open this up later on in Adobe Illustrator or another program, a vector program, and manipulate that and change it, add text to it, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So you can see there's probably a lot of possibilities that you can have, even when it comes to vector items. So not just text, but also graphics that you could possibly want to do to use this notebook with. So you can share these notes. You can send them to Dropbox. As you can go right here, there's also different things here like auto send. So you can set up auto send as well, and that is pretty cool. So that way you don't have to send individual pages of notes. If you want to constantly always back up your notes, it'll automatically do it for you. It'll do it to Dropbox, Google Drive, Evernote, OneNote. So if anything happens to your tablet, you'd say it gets crushed or you lose it or whatever, all your notes will be saved in these other places here, and you'll still have access to them, so that the way they don't completely disappear on you, which is pretty nice. So as you guys can see, that this is a pretty cool, handy feature, like a device to use here. If you love writing notes pen to paper, you prefer not to be using like a stylus and writing notes on your iPad or whatever it is. If you're pretty old school like that, but you still want to be able to keep track of all these notes, and obviously have a couple other features when it comes to clickable links and things like that. But not only that, but if you just don't want to have to hold on to all those notebooks, if you could just recycle the notebook after you're done, but all your notes will still be stored, and these notes don't take up much space, so you can have a ton of notes on your device. And like I said, even the pen itself, I believe it holds up to 1,400 pages of notes. So if you don't, you can go probably a couple months not syncing your pen to your device, and then remember, oh, I need to probably back up all my notes. You can still do that, and you have tons of space on the pen itself to store your notes. So a very interesting product for those of you that are maybe students or professionals or even artists that would be able to utilize something to this capacity. I think it would come in real handy. So those are my final thoughts on the Aegir Smart Pen. If you guys want to purchase this product, I'll have a link down below in the description to make that really easy for you to find. If you want to check out some of my other videos, I got 2 of the clips right here you can click on. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, make sure you click on my face, and don't forget to ring that bell to be notified of all my new reviews as they hit my channel. Well, that's it for me today, and I'll see you in the next video review.